So that's what we're going to talk about today, guys. The things that you can do, okay, that your competition isn't, right? And we're going to get into exactly what we mean by that. But the things that you can do to increase your output. All right. So if it's okay with you guys, I'm going to share some secrets. All right. This is stuff that I normally teach my private students, but today I want to share this with you guys because if you haven't already got on to the on pace with where your goals are, okay, we need to put a little bit of pep in your step. We need to put a little rocket fuel, and this will hopefully help you guys. Is that okay, guys? Type okay in the chat if you guys are okay with that. Okay, if it's okay with me sharing a little bit of stuff that's under the hood, right? Let me see. Okay. Okay, cool. All right. All right, perfect. Here we go. So, guys, just do me a favor, give me a thumbs up. And by the way, okay, I want to see all your beautiful faces. Okay, you understand? Okay, I don't know if you guys have ever led a call. Okay, but it's really weird. Like a Zoom call should be like a conversation you're having, like how and having a cup of coffee. Okay, it's really weird looking at a bunch of black screens with just names on it. It's very impersonal, right? It makes me feel like, man, you don't even want to come, right? So let's get those cameras on, see those beautiful smiles, and let's get rocking because I'm going to share with you some stuff. Least I could do is see your face. All right, cool. So, guys, persistence prospecting. Okay, we have called this persistence prospecting for a very specific reason. Okay, I like animals, right? I like dogs, especially. You guys know what kind of dog this is? All right, that's a wolf. And the reason why wolves, okay, the reason why they are like an apex predator, okay, is because of their hunting style. Okay. The reason why man is the top of the food chain, okay, is because number one, we're bipedal. We walk on two legs. And we perfected what they call persistence hunting. Okay. Persistence hunting is a hunting technique which hunters who may be slower than their prey over short distances use a combination of running, walking, and tracking to pursue their prey over prolonged distances until it is exhausted by fatigue or overheating. The persistent hunter must be able to run a long distance over an extended period of time. The strategy is used by a variety of canids, such as dogs and human hunter-gatherers. What does this have to do with prospecting? Aha! All right, folks, the reason why I use this metaphor is very, very simple, okay? You might not be the fastest or the best prospector, let's say, on Earth, okay? You might have a lot of competition, but you know what happens? You will outlast absolutely everybody. Okay. The people that have anyone ever heard the fortune is in the follow up? Right? Type in the chat the word fortune. If you understand that the fortune is in the follow up, that's not just fun alliteration, guys. Okay, because 90% of my listings came from follow-up, not from crushing it on the very first, listing presentation. Okay. It came from follow-up, follow-up, follow-up. The reason why we call our prospecting method persistence prospecting is very, very simple. We outlast everybody. Okay. So what a lot of people say to us is like, well, how often do I call? Like, how many of you, in fact, show of hands, how many of you have ever wondered, do I call this person back once a week, once a month, once a quarter? Thank you, Claudio. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Once a day, once an hour, right? Okay. Because if you think about it, folks, you can reach out to 1,000 people one time or one person 1,000 times. One of them is going to get the cops called on you. Okay. You can take a guess which one. But the reality of it is, folks, there's somewhere in between calling 1,000 people one time and one person 1,000 times, somewhere in the middle there's a sweet spot. Okay. And we have found the sweet spot. What does that look like? Well, I'm about to share that with you. Okay. So before you meet somebody, it's very, very simple. I'm going to give you tactical, practical stuff to do. This is something you can start implementing tomorrow. So before you are going to meet with somebody, okay, very, very simple. You need to call them 3 times a week until you get the meeting. A lot of people are like, are you crazy? What are you talking about? Guys, raise your hand if you answer every single phone call. Every time the phone rings, you answer it every single time, 100% of the time. Exactly. Okay. Now raise your hand if you call people back every single time they leave you a voicemail. Oh, look at that. No hands up either. So the point is, folks, Not everybody. Oh, okay. Claudia's a good one. I'm not. I'm terrible with voicemail, right? But the point is, okay, not everybody picks up the phone every time you call. Not everybody responds to the message that you leave. Okay. Sometimes we have unanswered texts as well. The point I want to make to you guys is you have to take control. You have to take the reins. Okay. And you have to be the one driving. Because remember, folks, in the brokerage game, okay, are we the decision makers? Type in the chat, guys. Are we the decision makers? Yes or no? Think about it. Are we the decision makers? Huh? Amir, I beg to differ. Are you the one signing the contract? Are you the one putting the money in escrow? Are you the one? No, no, exactly. Right. Unfortunately, folks, we are what I call like professional, highly paid referees, right? Our job is to make sure everybody gets along and to facilitate, but we are not the ones driving the train. So what can we control? Okay. The only thing we can control, folks, are the controllables. Being that we aren't the one making the decision, we can't control the output. But do you know what we can control? The input. Does that make sense, everybody? Type the word input, okay, if you're with me. All right? Type the word input because I want you guys to understand we can't control whether a deal closes. We can't control whether the environmental comes back dirty. We can't control whether or not the client calls us back. But you know what we can do? We can control whether we call them tomorrow or not. We can control whether we send a follow-up email or a text or XYZ ABC, right? With me, guys? So before you get the meeting, okay, you are to call them 3 times a week. All right. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, guys. There's 2 things you need to understand. By the way, how many of you would like to earn $428,000 a year or more? You show of hands. Okay. All right. Good. Guess what, folks? That puts you in the top 1% of earners. Okay. That's according to CNN.com, 428,000 or more. All right. Cool. Now let's think about it. If you want to be a 1% earner, there's 2 things you need to do. Number 1, you need to be doing what 99% of people are not doing. Okay. And the second one, to be a 1% earner, you have to be willing to go further than 99% of people. Now, here's the good news, guys, in real estate. All right. I'm sure you know most people don't go to the work at the same time. All right. Just showing up every day, 5 days a week, you're ahead of 50% of the people. Okay. Showing up on time and doing your work, you're ahead of another 40% of people. So you're already in the top 10. Okay. If you show up on time and do your work, you're ahead of 90%. That last 10%, that's a dogfight. Okay. Because there's someone out there that might want it more than you do. Okay. So you control the controllables, you control your effort. Okay. You have to be willing to go further than the next person. If you think this is weird, good. Go get a 9-to-5 job. Okay. Because until you take control, and the only thing that you can control is what input you put into this process. Does this make sense to everybody, guys? Type an exclamation point in the chat if that's a little bit of a light bulb. I want you guys to understand, okay? We cannot control the outcome, but we can control the input. So before meeting, 3 times a week until you get it. Now, okay, you're going to do that over a 1-month period. After 4 weeks of calling someone 3 times a week, you can back it off a little bit. Okay. After 4 weeks, you can go to twice a week. All right. Cool. So month 1, you left them 12 messages. Okay. Let's say they didn't even pick up. Okay. After the next 4 weeks, 2 times a week, you're leaving them another 8 messages. Okay. And then after 8 weeks, so in the 3rd month, you're going to be calling them once a month. I'm sorry, once a week. Okay. So think about that, folks. 12 plus 8, that's 20 plus 4. In a 90-day period, you're calling them 24 times. And a lot of people will be like, well, that sounds like a lot. No, it's not. You know why? Because I've had 6-figure checks with my name on them, and they came from me calling people over 35, 40 times. Facts, guys, right? You know why? It's the person that wants it the best, wants it the most, that earns the money. Plain and simple, okay? And we're going to show you what the statistics are on that in just a second. So do you guys see? Now, like, I want you to think about it from the other side of the table, okay? Can you imagine the picture you're going to be creating in the prospect's mind? Type in the chat. Give me a couple adjectives. What do you think the image that you're going to be painting into your prospect's mind? Type it in the chat. What do you think? Naveed, Dr. Deborah, Claudio, Alti, Rosemary, Judy, Namer, Janice, what do we got? What's the first word that comes to mind? If someone calls you 24 times in 90 days, yeah. Okay, Judy, I happen to agree with you. Deborah says pest, possibly. Yeah, possibly. Okay. Hardworking, persistent. Yep. Okay. I don't mind the negative connotations, and I'll tell you why. You know why? Sometimes they'll give you the listing just to make you shut up, make you, because they say, listen, if they're that much of a pest calling me, what are they going to do when they're on my team? They're going to do that to everybody else. They're going to follow up the same way, like a rabid dog. You with me, guys? So it's okay, right? There we go, Steven. He's different. Yep. Claudio says hardworking. Yeah. The point is, folks, all of these things are positive, and even if some of them are negative, so what? It's all negative in the positive. He calls me so much, he cares about, or she cares about her work so much, they keep calling me. They want to do business with me. They're not getting paid to call me. You with me, guys? No matter how you look at it, it's painting a picture inside your prospect's mind, no matter what. And remember this, folks: the people that get annoyed by by you following up, remember this, okay? You'll lose. Write this down, please. You'll lose way more business by not following up enough than by following up too much. I will bet my bottom dollar that is the case 999 out of 1,000 times. All right, folks? You will lose more business by under following up than over following up. Okay? And in fact, I'm going to lay down a challenge. I'm going to throw down the gauntlet, guys. I want you guys to follow up so much that someone says, I was going to give you the business, but now you annoyed me so much. Okay. Do that until you get that response. Then you'll know you've hit the sweet spot. Okay. Because remember, the ones that mind don't matter, and the ones that matter don't mind. Okay. Imagine this. Imagine someone fell off their bicycle. A child fell off a bicycle and skinned their elbow and skinned their chin. Do you think they're going to get mad at you for offering them a Band-Aid? Because that's what we're here to do, people. We're here to help people. The people that we're going to work with, they're going to be motivated, or else they're not going to work with us, okay? And they're going to appreciate someone taking their job seriously. Because the vast majority of Americans, what is when people think about Americans, what do they think? Oh, they're lazy, they're entitled, they don't want to work, they don't want to do this, they don't want to do that. It's not like it used to be, blah, 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 blah. Prove them wrong, guys, okay? Show them you take your work seriously, okay? So first 3 months, 24 follow-ups, okay? Now, I'll tell you what, 99% of you will not do this. But the 1% that do, you'll out-earn the 99%. I guarantee it, okay? After 12 weeks, you can go down to once a month. Because think about it, folks. Once you either spoke to or a combination of speaking to and or leaving 24, 25 messages, I promise you these people will remember exactly who you are, okay? Because nobody else does that. Raise your hand if you've been called 25 times in the last 3 months by anybody. I rest my case, guys, right? Okay. Judy, raise your hand. Judy has a stalker. Just kidding. No, but the point is, guys, you will show how serious you take your work. You'll show how important this person is to you. Okay. And that course that sends a message that's very, very important to the other side. All right. So next up, guys. All right. These are sales statistics. Some say they're true. Some say they're not. Even if they're half of it is true, I want you to understand the principle behind it. 48%, even if the numbers are off by a little bit. Just remember this, though, okay? I want you to understand. 48% of people will never follow up with a prospect. Shame on them, guys. Shame on them, okay? 25% will make a second attempt and stop, okay? 12%, so that's 1 out of 8, okay, will make 3 contacts and stop, okay? Literally 10% of people, only 10% of people will make more than 3 contacts, all right? And then 2% of sales are made on the first contact, 3% are on the second, 5% on the third, 10% on the fourth, and 80% of all sales are made between the 5th and 12th contacts. Folks, type in the chat what your takeaway is from that. What does that tell you, folks? It should tell you 2 things. Type in the chat. What does that tell you? Knowing these statistics. What do you guys come up with? Persistence pays. Love that. That's a good one. Yep. Heck yeah. Yep. Most people are not willing to do what's necessary. Most people will stop after the first bump in the road, after the first, oh, yeah, I already called him twice. I don't want to be annoying. Be annoying. Your wallet will thank you, guys. Okay. Doing the 1% pays big. Yeah, exactly, Steve. Yep. 100%, guys. All right. I want you to understand. Judy says, I need to follow up more and do more than most others. Yeah. Yes. That's a fantastic lesson to take away. Because, folks, if you don't do it, someone else is. I promise you, if you don't do it, you're someone across the hall from you, someone down the street from you, someone across town from you. And the money that's going into their pocket could have been going in yours if you would have just picked up the phone instead of playing on TikTok. Y'all with me? Okay, cool. Claudia says, I have to start following up. Yeah, guys, I promise you, because remember, when you follow up with somebody, you've already made first contact. The first call is the hardest, guys. The first call, they're a stranger. Everyone else is a warm call after that. With me, guys? All right. And the more calls you make, the closer you are to a yes. Think about that. I want you to get into your head. If 80% of sales are made from the 12th to the 5th contact, that every step you take closer in between that sweet spot of 5 to 12, guess what? You're that much closer to the yes. You're that much closer to getting money. All right, guys? So you have to make it a point to follow up. Okay. So I wanted to share that statistic with you. Now, here's the thing, guys. There's a difference between a no and a no. Let me say that a different way. There's a difference between a no and a nah. You hear that, guys? Okay. Because if no meant no forever, guys, none of us would make any money. Okay. But the reality of it is, okay, sometimes you catch them at a bad time. Has anyone here ever been interrupted by a telemarketer? Maybe you were a little mean to them, right? Okay. I saw David. Yeah. Okay. Guys, it happens. What's happening? We're calling them in the middle of their day. Okay. Everybody has something going on. Maybe they're getting their kids off to school. Maybe they're walking up the stairs. Maybe they just got out of the shower. Who knows, right? The point I'm trying to make to you guys is we're calling them in the middle of the flow of their life. You don't know what's going on there. So if people are a little rude, so what? Okay. But what's going to happen is people are going to give you objections. And no does not mean no. Okay. So if they give you a logistical reason, and this is why I'm bringing up no's, okay? If they say something logistical, guys, type in the chat, what would be something logistical? A logistical excuse to say no. What would that sound like, guys? How about my daughter's getting married on the 13th? I can't think of anything between now and then. I'm in Italy currently. I'm, not able to I'm not back in the States until such and such time. Oh, you know what? I have to do my income taxes, and I have like meetings all week with my accountant, but check back with me next week. Okay. I am in jury duty until the 14th of the month, whatever. Right. Okay. As opposed to, yeah, call me back in a month or two. Are those the same no's, guys? Yes or no? No, absolutely not. Okay. So you need to read between the no's. Okay. So if they give you a logistical reason, okay, not a, nah. They say no because or no but, right? What I want you to do is very simple, guys. And now when I say logistical, season, oh, you know what? I'm up in Michigan until after the first. Give me a call back when I get down to South Florida. Okay. I live in South Florida, so we got a lot of snowbirds. Okay. Time frame, an event, it has to be logistical. It has to be something that can be overcome. All right. So like you're not gonna make sure his daughter throws off or calls off her wedding, right? You're gonna wait till after the wedding and you're gonna call them a day or two afterwards. But what a lot of agents make the mistake of in their follow-up is they follow up when people tell them to follow up. Well, like what? Huh? That doesn't make any sense. Think about it, guys. When someone tells you, call me in a month, what is that? What are they telling you? Right? Type it in the chat. What do you think they're telling you? If someone says, call me in 1 month, what do you think they're telling you? No, they're not saying no. Possibly don't bother me now. You know what they're saying? I'm going to be making that decision in a month. Okay. Now, Do you want to be calling them in a month? Or do you want to be maybe calling them in 3 weeks when they're contemplating making the decision? They want to have that decision made in a month. You with me? You got to get inside people's heads, what they're saying. Exactly. Amber says when they're ready, right? So I don't want to be there because, guys, trust me, from someone who's made over 35,000 cold calls to sellers, okay? I want you to understand. Yes, Brian says no, call them in 2 weeks or sooner. Yes. What you want you to do is whatever time frame they tell you, call them back in 75% of it. If they told you call me back in a month and you call them tomorrow, you're a little bit of a weirdo, right? But if they call, did I just tell you to call me back in a month? Yeah, right. They might not share the reason. They don't know us an explanation. But what I want you to understand is they tell you call back in a month and you call them in 3 weeks. They're not going to call you on it. They're not going to be like, I told you to call me in a month. They're going to be like, but what I want you to understand is they're thinking about making the decision in a month. It's for you to unravel that and say, you know what? I need to be in the flow of their lives in 3 weeks so that by the time a month comes, we're ready to move forward. Does that make sense, guys? Type an exclamation point if that's a bit of a light bulb, because it took me years to figure that one out. And you know how I figured it out, guys? I figured it out by calling people when they told me to, and they had already made the decision. Oh yeah, I just signed with an agent. Oh yeah, I just signed. Man, you told me to call you back, and I did on the exact day because I put it in my CRM. Okay, guys, so this is very, very important. So if it's a logistical reason, find out what that logistical reason is and try calling them, like a little bit beforehand. Okay, very, very important, guys. This is Jedi level stuff that takes thousands and thousands and a lot of skin knees, so to speak. Okay. Remember, like I said, guys, whatever they say, call them back in 75% of the time. If they tell you they're going to be back in a month and you call them in 3 weeks and you catch them, in whatever, Sevilla, Spain. Oh, I'm sorry. I was just excited to do business with you. I'll give you a call next week. Right. Or guess what? Everybody has voicemail. Everybody has voicemail, guys. Okay. If they don't want to talk to you, everybody has caller ID. You can leave voicemails for everybody and they can see who's calling, right? A lot of people are like, well, what if they don't want to talk to me? Then they're not going to pick up the phone. Have you guys ever seen anybody on your phone and you're like, I don't want to talk to that person, and you just go click right to voicemail? Guys, they have that technology too. I know. Mind blowing. Okay. So remember, folks, after a meeting, after someone has taken the time to meet with you at a specific time, at a specific place, for the purposes of selling their property, guess what? You are that much closer to the money. Okay. Meaning those people are the highest priority for you. What I recommend, okay, is to follow up with them weekly. All right. In fact, everybody stop what you're doing right now. I want you to go into your calendars. And if you guys aren't using calendars, okay, get on the bus. Okay. You got to live your life by a calendar. Why? He who controls his time controls his income or her income. Okay. So remember, on Friday, I want you guys every single Friday, okay, from 10 to 12, I want you to put follow up with previous meetings. Do that right now. I'll wait. Okay. It's that important, guys. Okay. Follow up with previous meetings. Put it in your calendar for every single Friday. Make it a recurring event from 10 to 12 every Friday. If you don't have a ton of meetings to follow up with, you do it from 10 to 11, whatever. Okay. But you need to plan your business. Okay. Remember this, guys, plan your work and work your plan. You've all heard that corny adage. If you plan to fail, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. It's true, guys. Okay. Because I'm sure, hours aren't magically dropped in your week where you just have plenty of time to follow up. Most of you will probably tell me, I don't follow up because I don't have enough time to do it. Right? Okay. I'm sure all of you tell me that. So now you don't have an excuse. It's in your calendar from 10 to 11 or 10 to 12 on Fridays. Okay. But remember, the people that you have already spoken to, okay, they are most likely to convert, not the person that you're making a first call or a second call or a fifth call or a 10th call, but the person that already met you at a specified time in a specified place. Because how many of you guys, type a 1 in the chat if there's no way you would ever meet with a real estate agent unless you had some inkling of wanting to sell, right? Okay. We can go online and know what our properties are worth. We're not idiots, right? How many of you would never in a million years take 45 minutes or an hour out of your day unless you had some sort of interest in selling? Type me in the chat. Okay. If there's no way you would meet with somebody unless you had some sort of interest. Okay. There's some degree of interest. Is it 1% or 100%? We don't know. But you know what? You don't know if you don't go. And you got to follow up every Friday from 10 to 11 or 10 to 12, depending on how many meetings you've taken. Okay. Yeah. Look, Dr. Deborah, Judy, Claudio. Okay. Very important to understand. Now, what I want you guys also to understand is, okay, the 90-day rule. When I learned this one blew my mind, guys. Okay. The 90-day rule goes like this. Of all the people that are looking for a good or service, only 15% will buy in the first 90 days. 15%. Does that kind of blow your mind, guys? 15% will actually move forward. So what does that tell you, guys? right in the chat. If you're saying to yourself, 85% buy from 90 days on, you better believe it. Okay. So that's the thing. Of all the people that are actually going to buy a good or service, only 15% will buy in the first 90 days. You know what that tells me? You had better be a good follow-upper, right? And that the people, remember how I told you 90% of my listings came from my follow-up? That's that rule in play right then and there. Okay. Only people that do business over and over and over again are the people that have solid follow-up in their business. Okay. So remember, the rest will do business between 90 days and about 18 months. After 18 months, they're not likely to do business, but 85% of people are from the 90-day to 18 months. Okay. So what is the logical conclusion, guys? Okay. Persistence prospecting. Okay. I started the call by explaining that's how wolves got to be apex predators. That's how humans got to the top of the food chain. Why? Because we outlast everybody. We wear them down. I don't care how you do it so long as you do it. All right. Very, very important to understand. Love it. So, guys, number one takeaway I want you guys to understand is if no matter how much following up you're doing, okay, you need to be doing more. Okay. If you, let's think about this. Let's do a thought experiment real quick. If you did 10 times more following up, is it possible that you'd have 10 times more business? Type yes or no in the chat. Is it possible that if you did 10 times more following up, you'd have 10 times more business? Judy says, yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, is it possible? Is it possible if you did 10 times more following up, you'd have 5 times more business? Okay. Now, for most of you, you're probably doing less than 2 hours of follow-up a week. Those are the facts, guys. Okay. So if you 10x'd it, it still would only be a part-time job. And knowing that 85% of your business comes from your follow-up, doesn't it make sense to make that the majority of your business? Okay. And be really, really good at it. You with me, guys? Okay. Now, as I started off today's call with folks, all right, this is the stuff that I only teach my private students. Okay. This is stuff that we wanted to peel back a little bit of the curtain because we wanted to show you kind of what we do and how we do it. All right. It is July 23rd today, folks. Okay. And what I want you guys to understand is the year is half over. I am sure of it that you guys sat there on January 1st and said, this is my year. I'm going to 2X. I'm going to 3X. I'm going to 5X. And everybody in the chat, not a single person was ahead of their goal. Okay. And the most important thing, guys, is if you aren't satisfied with what you're making currently, do something about it. You are in control of your life. Nobody else. Nobody's going to come save you. Nobody's going to do it for you. Your future self is counting on the decisions that you make today. All right, guys, take care, folks. Go implement. I'll talk to you later.